chat up, Maroon. Twitch. Yeah, it's the website, not Twitter. Sorry, I'll have chat up in just a second. Of course, I have 0 viewers at the moment. And a commercial. Well, I'm selling Buffalo Wild Wings now. If I get a cut of that. Hey guys, what's going on? I know nobody's in here yet, which hopefully eventually somebody might come in here. So today we're painting some monsters. So the color I'm using currently at this moment is Watercolors One Coat Yellow, because I'm going to be painting green. Let me blast this out real quick. Where's my moose at? Let me switch back to the other view. Sorry, it was somebody else's Twitch. Control C. Nobody's in here yet. If you're in here, say hi. Alright, so for all of y'all that will probably not rewind and watch this, I'm just kidding, guys. What I'm getting ready to do here is base coat this were alligator, or this alligator man thing. I'm going to move my mic here a little bit out of my way, get readjusted for myself. Here we go. There we are. Make sure I got everything else shut off outside of OBS. Close that. Close Facebook. Close YouTube. Yes. Leave this page. Wait, stay on page. Leave the page. Gosh, my system resources are getting eat up real quick. Hold on. Of course, I got 2 PDFs open. I don't know how many windows. I thought I could just start this off. Let's see, does that work? Come on. this card out here. That's fine. I don't care to knock that over. It's just plastic. Alright. Hey, where'd my window go? Here we go. So what we're going to start here is I've got this pretty much just yellow. And we're going to go here. I already got one coat of yellow on here. This is a brighter yellow. So let's get it in view here. What we're doing is we're taking our beater brush and we're going to base coat this entire crocodilia person best we can. I would just do this with the airbrush, but it's kind of loud, and I'm not set up with a way to deal with the fumes at the moment. So what I'm going to do here, though, you're going to notice that I'm not going to paint this new color on the stomach and the chest. And you're going to see why when we get around to painting this sky green. So tonight I wanted to paint muscles, and we are going to paint muscles tonight. But I also wanted to paint this guy because I've been eyeballing him in my box of shame. So I want to mess around with him some. Hope everybody's doing great today. I'm going to talk about a few other things today as well. And I'll wait for other people to get in here. So this is a Reaper miniature, I think from Bones Series 2, because I have a bunch of bones in a box underneath my desk. Oh, it's just stuff I needed to, been sitting on top of, and I needed to paint for my game. Got it. Just wanted to get this one color on top. Let's see why when we're ready to put the green on. I like yellow. It's a good color. It's my daughter's favorite color. So if I ever buy her any dice or anything like that, it has to be yellow. Her skateboard's yellow. Everything she wears is yellow half the time. Of course, she's also, sorry, got this on my shirt. She is also big into Hawaiian shirts. And I pointed out to her the other day that she'd fit in great at GaryCon. But then she gave me an earful because she's at that age where she doesn't like the things Daddy does. Because I'm a dork. Yellow. Alright, we'll let him dry. It can be a little rough, it's fine. Because we got magic happening tonight. Ooh, magic. Magic. Oh, let's see here. We've got a couple people in here. Hey, everybody. And remember, if you have any questions, just let me know. So, as he dries, I'll switch over to this guy. This is, I guess the best answer for this is a werebore. So, I want to paint him tonight. That's where we're going to play around with some muscles and stuff. He will probably take up most of my time tonight. Hope not. Alright, so the colors we're using today. So this is I'm thinking of this guy as a human that was bit by another wereboar, and so he's going to have human skin tones. The colors I'm going to be using for this are going to be Vallejo Brown Rose, Vallejo Medium Flesh Tone, and Vallejo Dark Flesh, which is going to be dark, mids, and highs. So we're going to start with the Brown Rose, and here it is. Yeah, we'll put a drop there. And if y'all have any questions about this wet palette, actually I'm going to need more than that. He's a larger miniature, and for some odd reason it's taking a lot more paint. This wet palette is the Army Painter one. If y'all have any questions on it, let's see here. And I'll put this right here. Won't need as much. And then we'll put this guy right here. So I got a new way to mix my paints right now until hopefully somebody for Father's Day buys me a new paint mixer. I've taken a cheap Harbor Freight Dremel and I put a airbrush wire on it, or a needle, and I bent it a little bit, and I just shove it down the end and just flick it on, and just 5 seconds of that, boom, my paints are mixed. But it ain't that great as far as like being quiet and stuff, so I can't do it late at night. So sorry, squeaky chair. Let me get situated here. Went on a long walk today and I'm feeling it. Okay, so right now I did do a brown undercoat with Reaper's Golden Brown. So we're going to go ahead and we could sloppily put on this first coat here. So at first I was like, man, this kind of reminds me of a monster we fought in a game with Steven and at GaryCon, and I was like, yeah, it was some sort of boar, man boar. I was like, yeah, this would be a great model for it. And I sent Steven a message today. I was like, what's the name of that monster you had us fight? And it was like the Jawman. And this looks nothing like his vision of it. And his vision of it is the body of a boar and a torso of a 4-armed man with tusk. So that game I played a wizard, or an illusionist actually, and I made myself look like one to confuse one of them, and while I did that I had the other one attack the one that it was. Yeah, we had two, so I confused them, try to get one to attack the other. So then I also made it look like a giant was attacking it. So we killed them though. They are monsters, but if this ever made it to Dungeons and Dragons, it would probably be a playable race and everybody would love it. I'm sorry. There's certain things that don't need to be playable races. Tieflings. Now I will essentially ramble. Okay guys? If you all don't talk to me and you don't want me to ramble. Just saying. So now the brush we're using again today is these Hobby Lobby. This is a size 6. You see how big it is. It's a beater brush, but it gets that first coat on fairly well. Pretty thick. get a drink of my water. Let's see here. We got the Breeze Far Wanderer, Shallow May, and Von Nustu. Hopefully I'm getting there right. Did I get the wrong one? No, right one. Remember, guys, I'm not the perfect painter. I'm the lazy painter. Try to get these done as quickly as possible for a tabletop standard. Monsters, unless it's going to be some sort of centerpiece, showpiece, or super monster like a giant dragon or like a lich you guys been hunting for a couple months in game. Personally, I don't think needs to have too much detail. A lot of it, you just put 3 or 4 colors on a wash stuff. So we're gonna play with muscles today, though. I need more practice at it, so I figured I could practice while you guys practice. Just kidding. I don't know if y'all are painting or not. Okay. Let's get this in here. Mr. Pigman. I had to read a book about a guy called the Pigman in school. Remember that? 7th grade. Long time ago. Okay. So we've got the rows on. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to start blending these 2 colors together. We're going to leave a pure side. So we're going to leave this because we're going to transition this solid and transition it over here. So what we got to start doing is hitting the tops of the muscles, and this is where it gets tricky. And it doesn't have to be perfect, This is where a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be great. No, because in the end, we're more than likely still chuck a wash on it, and it'll still make it dark. So what I like using washes for actually is to blend certain colors together. I believe it helps blend those out some. So let's see here. James Wapple brush. Make me get my reading glasses out here in a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit about color choices when you go to buy colors. So you notice that we paint a lot of monsters, paint a lot of stuff that would necessarily fall into the concept of medieval eras. And so our color choices need to start being that have nothing crazy, but colors that would be commonplace in medieval times. And one of the first paint sets I ever bought was a Vallejo paint set, and it was a medieval color set. So it was, you've got your blue, like your royal blue and some purples and things like that, but it was common colors in the medieval period. And I'll bust those out here shortly if I can get a minute in between drying times, and we'll have a look at it. So this isn't going to be perfect because I'm not a perfect painter, but hopefully it'll look good. Sometimes I experiment with stuff being the first or second time on here, and if it looks horrible, I don't know not to do it again. But yeah, so some important colors when you're painting fantasy. Yeah, you're going to have your wizards, and wizards are going to have like crazy colors. Yep, I'm going to trigger some people with sticking that in my ear. Wizards will have some crazy colors because they're wizards, and you know, if they've got the money and the magic, they can afford it. But most people can't afford a lot of different colors. So, for example, browns are going to be a prominent color that we're going to use a lot in fantasy. Whether it's fur or leathers, stuff like that. So, and then, let's see here. Y'all thought I was going to stick that in my mouth. Oh, Mark CMG. We got us a new person. But yeah. So browns are very important colors in fantasy settings. You're going to use browns more than anything out there. The next one I would say would be gray and off-white, parchment colors. Again, though, like parchment, I think falls into the brown family. Now, fun fact, brown is actually a new word. Brown, from what I understand, is part of the red family. So, some biblical knowledge. I'll leave that one alone. It's more of the Jewish priest had to find a red heifer to sacrifice. Well, anyway, the interesting thing about it is that the word brown, as I said, is only like a couple hundred years old. So when they were talking about red back then, it could have actually been brown. I'm just saying that the word is just so new. Now, if you have to lighten brown, think about the colors that make brown. You've got red and you've got a green that make brown, but what would lighten it? It's not going to be white. I mean, you can use white to get a creamy color. That's where you get your creams at. But it will actually be yellow. Feedback's welcome if y'all want to give me some feedback. I'm just trying to get in the shapes of the muscles. I don't know how well you can see that. Sorry, I'm going to bring this down for just a minute so I can get this one section here. Y'all are probably like, man, this guy don't know how to paint. You know what? I could completely screw this up. But guess what? It's a piece of plastic. Oh no, I missed a section. I didn't realize I missed a section. So now, one of the next things we're going to do is we got most of this color done. So what we do is we keep going in a little further each time, leaving some of the color that we just put down. Okay. Alright, and then we keep going smaller and smaller and smaller. So now, let me brush out. Now we're going to go with that carne oscura. I mean, medium, medium flesh. Carne oscura is the dark flesh. So the medium flesh, we're going to go in a little bit more with just it purely. So it's going here. 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 Got some new dice today. Anybody here like dice? I'm not going to show y'all until y'all start talking. Okay. Didn't do this one. Aha! I got baked. I got amethyst dice from Norse Foundry today. Look at that. Got baked talking in there. Oh, too much paint. Do you like them? Do you like those dice? Actually, so they're actually a payment for a commission I'm getting ready to do for one of my friends at Norse. He's got some night gas from 40K, or not 40K, but Games Workshop's Warhammer Soul Wars, I believe it's called, that they want me to paint. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit too here in a minute. Oh my gosh. This takes a lot of time. Come on, get your pig boobs. Back in view right there. I also have a set of the lapis. I'm going to start collecting those gemstones now. So I got a nice leather dice tray as well. So yeah, the lapis, man, are awesome. I've got some of the older ones that don't have the Norse font. I actually got Chuck a set of lapis for Christmas. Me and a friend did. So if you ever go to buy them, let me know. I can get you a discount. Trying to get him to sponsor us a little bit, to throw in some coupon codes. He usually gives me a coupon code when I run games at the local bar stuff, so I think this is going to look horrible. Maybe doing something wrong here, guys. We'll get it right. Alright, actually we're not going to use that lighter color. Kind of like him being a little dark. But we're going to wash the dickens out of this guy. We'll experiment. I got a new color today too, so I'm going to play with it. Oh, Geek Easy. Oh, yeah. So I'm on the list to run stuff. They know I run different systems. So the next system I'm running there is Castles and Crusades. But I'm also on there to run Dungeon Crawl Classics as well. I love Goodman games. They're fun. Alright, so I've got these colors just sticking out here. I'm playing around. I'm gonna go get my new toy. Let's get my new color here. We're gonna try this out. So this is what it looks like right now. So we are going to look how brown that is. Let's see here. Nope. Nope. Sorry, I'm finding the color, guys. That one looks good. Just make sure. Yeah. Let's try these two. Tonight we have some inventions from the land of England. These are contrast paints. I know I told myself at one point that I would never use these paints, but I want to try them. So we're just supposed to slather it on there. So what this is, and I'm going to tell y'all straight up exactly what this stuff is. It is a heavy body wash, or it also is considered a glaze. And what I mean by heavy body is it's very, very pigmented. Okay, so it will wash, but it will also stain the crap out of stuff. So I actually have a blue that I had made up at one time. So we're just seeing how this goes in. And so the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to paint it. They got two primer colors that they want people to use, and one's called Gray Sear and the other one's called Wraithbone. So, and I don't like buying expensive primers in a can, y'all know that. So I color matched the primer for another project I'm working on, but I color matched the primer for with cheaper paints, so it should work fine. But what I did with this, the reason why I did it like this, it's a highlighting effect. It's also called underpainting as well. Sometimes it's done in grays, but you can do it in colors. I wanted to do it in flesh tones because in those areas I wanted them to appear fleshy. Now this is a fairly dark color, which is fine. I think it looks kind of cool because ores come in different colors, people's come in different colors. You know, can't just always have the same colors. It's a brown. That's wicked. Let's see. Yeah, we the bar though hadn't got a chance to go in a while because of the COVID-19 crap. So they canceled that. I've been doing some virtual games. I got a virtual Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel coming up here in about a week. I'm excited about it. Introduce new people to that system. So that's how I break 5e players. I'm like, hey, you want to try this system? It's fun. I'm like, sure. And it puts a whole world of hurt on them. Okay. I don't know if I like this or not yet. I know it dries shiny, so I'll have to put a matte clear coat on it. What do y'all think so far? Does it look good? Bad? I slammed the door. And now they're ringing the ring. Okay. See how this looks. So it goes into the recesses where it's darker, like a wash does. But again, it stains everything. I don't know if I like it. I hope it does. So let's let it dry. So the tail, let's get the tail here. So we got all this excess hair down here too. So, oh, one little bit here. Now, let's put that there. Let's talk about this crocodilia while this dries. Man, that looks kind of neat. Hold on, I'm missing spots and I don't want it to dry funny. Okay, get in there. It's your home. It's your home. Go, get in there. Alright. See how it dries. Alright, crocodilia. Crikey, it's a crocky. Yes, I do really bad impressions. So this is my ultimate cheat for anything that needs to be green. Goblins, orcs, anything you need green. Who in the world? Hold on. Oh, hold on. They probably don't hear it. I'll be right back. Somebody's at my door. Okay. Let's see. I am back. Sorry about that, guys. I had somebody at the door. Sorry, I'm looking for a color. You know, you'd think I'd get prepared. Today's been a bit of a crazy day, though. Okay, so painting greens. We use a lot of green. Monsters are green. So if you take your monster and color it or whatever, it's going to need to be green, yellow. Okay, your base coat is yellow. Then you have washes. You have a green tone, and I've also broken out what's called a military shader. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to find us a nasty cup here, and we are going to put a little bit of green tone in it. I'll set it right there. And I'm going to mix a little water with it, because this stuff is kind of thick. It's an ink, somewhat. Okay, so we're going to mix it up and make it a little thinner. And you guys know me, I'm going to slop it on. So we're going to put the standard green just on the belly, okay? Right here. Green, 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 green. Going to put green on the belly. Green, green, green. So this kind of does like the Citadel paints, or Citadel contrast paints, but not as much. So we have to do it in layers, right? We'll do a couple different layers. So what we're doing though is we're going to stain that yellow with green, and that will give us highlights, because the yellow will give us highlights, and it will fill in the recesses. And then we're going to put some of this on the top too, but I'm also going to mix it a little bit of the military shader. It's a brown green. We're going to mix that in with it as well. So last time I did this, it just took a couple of coats, but it depends on your base paint, how well it will take and stain. Okay. So it's starting to stain a little bit. Not as much as the colors from Citadel. This stuff stained really good. I actually learned this process from a friend of mine who batch paints a lot of miniatures at once. This is how he just busts it out. So starting to think I should have used the Army Painter Yellow. They stain a little bit better. Okay. Key is just to slop it on like you're doing a wash. We're going to control pulling though, again, like you would normally if you were doing a wash. Alright. Or this green here, because I'm going to get this belly a little bit darker. We're not going to water it down this time. The spots you miss. And we're going to add some of the military shader. So the military shader is a brown, but it does have a touch of green in it. I'll tell you, when you're making, if you want to clone Strong Tone from Army Painter, one of the things that you do need to do is, see how dark that is. Yeah, that worked. When you're mixing your browns, is you need to add a little bit of green to it. So, because Strong Tone is brown, but it does have a green tone to it, a green touch of green in it. That's when a lot of people are using the poly shades method. They don't realize that they're missing a little bit of green. Hopefully this will start staining a bit better. You know what though? Just have a happy little crocodilia. A were croc. Alright. So we got a little bit on here. We'll let this dry because right now all I'm doing is pushing this around. So let's make sure I ain't got any pulling anywhere. If it's too bad. Down the snout. Some down this way. Alright. And alright. So I'm going to let him dry a little bit and then we're going to come back to him. Oh, got it on my new eyes. No, no. Alright, let's come back to Pigman. So here he is. Alright, so what I'm going to do with him, so I've got another color here called Sigor Brown, and we're going to use that in a minute. I need to find my dry brush. There it is. What color are we going to use? Let's use this flesh here. So this is my dry brush. This is a ladies blush brush. Okay, so we're going to load it up here with a little bit of this light flesh tone. And we're going to see how this turns out. Not as good as I thought it would. A little bit better. Bringing the color up. It's a little too light for that tone. We can get it all over. We can pull it off. Yep. It's too much. I applied too much. Failure is always a possibility. We'll save it though. We'll save it. See, this is my first time playing around with these contrasts. And I just wanted to see what they do. Okay. I went a little too dark. How's it looking, guys? A little weird. Just fine. All right. See, I could have just washed that guy and then done this to it. It'd been okay. Alright. Wasn't too much of a fail. So, clean out my dry brush here. Now, this side will be wet for a bit. Ugh. Yeah, that wasn't good at all. It's fine. Again, it's part of being lazy. Alright, let's deal with his hair though. Yep, this needs to be mixed. So you're going to see me use, see how that came out there? It's nasty. To see me use the new mixing method. Literally, I just shove this in here, like so, turn it on, I'm done. That's it, it's mixed. As I get paint everywhere. Of course, it is a little messy pulling out. And I know that could go the wrong way, but look, see the difference in those two right there, before and after? I got a little bit right here on my monitor. It's alright though. It's the way God intended it. This is ash gray from Army Painter. So we've got to get his hair painted up a little bit here. So I'm going to put this ash gray because I am going to use the one of these colors, contrast colors for his hair. So you just got to come in here, and this is the process though with the system. Is that whenever you get a little bit of the color on a different area that needs to be a different color, you have to go back in there with the gray sear or the wraith bone and paint over it, and which to me is double work. But again, we're playing around tonight, and this thing keeps wanting to come off the stand. So we're gonna get this color in. I want to do a dark blackish color, and the color I'm going to use is called Sigor Crown or Sigor Brown. So it's a darker color. Here. Okay, let's get the tail here. A little bit of fur on the end of his tail for that coarse boar hair. Okay. Yeah, right here. This area, because he's got some hanging in between his legs. Of course, it's just a way to keep the model PG, which is fine. My kids paint these as well. You will never see my children painting a Kingdom Death model, and I will not have them seeing them either. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I just can't have kids paint them, and I do a lot of painting takes with kids. Next color is Skeleton Bone from Army Painter. This one's an older bottle, so it's kind of clumpy. It is. That was a pumpkin muffin this time of the year. Okay, so I have a little bit of a smaller brush around here somewhere. Here it is. Again, this is me eating because I get hungry like every 5 minutes. So we're going to use the skeleton bone on his hooves, because I assume it's going to be a toenail color. Can't guarantee that. And also, so if you don't know how something should look, like especially these Reaper models, you can actually just look it up on Reapers. Like there's a number usually on the bottom of a Bones model, and just Google that number with the word Reaper, and you can see where other people have painted it, especially if you can't see like a certain detail on it. Now, with animals, though, I have a tendency to lick stuff up. See, like, what's this animal look like versus this animal over here? Let's get a little bit of here on this knuckle. Knuckle. And we got this tusk here. Right, and thing with this color though, it does kind of go on thin, so you have to do multiple passes or the bottom's going to show through. But it dries fairly quickly, so not too big of a deal. Just starting to show up here. Again, anything you mess up can be fixed. Alright, so we've given our crocodile a little bit of time to dry. Woo! Got a few more people in here. So let's let him sit. We're going to start coming in. Yeah, it is because it's a primer. So the key with the Wraithbone and with the Gray Seer is that it's rough because it needs, compared to other paints, because it needs to absorb the tones or the contrast when you put them on there. Now, needless to say, you can get that effect. I matched up a couple of the crappy folk art paints with those today as well. I ordered, and you'll also notice that Vallejo's primers are that way as well if they're put on too thick. So they, sorry, my voice is cracking really bad. That, gosh, words. Like if you get the WizKids models, they put the primer on really thick. So, it's really a rough texture as well. Now, for these, for the commission that I've got, I didn't order the Gray Seer. I ordered the Vallejo airbrush primer, gray. It's the Mecha Series primer. It's pretty much a dead on for Gray Seer. Come on, guys, dry a little bit. But yeah, it pretty much is spot on, same color. And the reason why I got it over the craft paint is because I'm going to have to airbrush all those models anyway. And it was $13 for like 20 mil, or 200 mil of the primer. And then versus Citadel's almost $30 for a 10-ounce spray can, which is about the same amount of paint. But if you put it on too thick, now the I don't know how they're doing it with the Vallejo on the WizKids, because that's what they use on the WizKids models. So I don't know if they're dipping it or if they're spraying it on somehow. So I have no clue, man. But it'll stain. That's the thing, though. They're trying to come up with a foolproof method. So you see how our crocodile's coming along? So it would have been a little bit quicker if I had used a Army Painter color instead of that war color. And the reason being is the Army Painter paints are designed to stain with their washes. So that's why this is taking a little bit longer than normal. Oh, get back in the center, Daniel. Well, any Citadel paint's fairly thick when you get it out of the pot anyway, and that's why they tell you to thin it down. See, so when I buy any Citadel colors, so we're going to let this dry again, we'll talk for a minute. When I buy Citadel colors, I move them over to dropper bottles. I buy these guys here for, as I said beforehand, I get 10 of these bottles for, or not 10, but 100 for $10. So these are 20 ml bottles. I take and the way I do this is I only use a total of 5 milliliters of whatever I'm thinning with at the time. Usually the way I thin paints is I will make a mix of 50-50 distilled water to acrylic medium, matte medium, and then what I'll start doing from there is, make sure I get this back on the right one. What I start doing from there is first I'll take the pot and I'll put a drop or two in the pot with a shaker ball. I'll shake the crap out of it, and then I'll start pouring it into my funnel. And then once I get that mostly done, I'll then add the rest of the thinning medium, shake that up, and then I'll just turn the dropper bottle over, or not the dropper bottle, but the pot over, and just set it in the funnel and just walk away and give it a few minutes, and it usually drains as much as you can into it. And then I take the shaker ball from it and put it in the pot. And somebody's getting ready to bust in here. Hold on a minute, guys. Hopefully not. Sound like one of my kids. Anyway, so I'll add that dropper bottle in there, and so those pots, even though they're only 12 mil when you buy them, after you add the medium to them, then it takes it up to 17, 18 mil. And so the thing with that though is people always complain that you're spending almost $4 for a paint that is, you know, only 12 mil, and you get the ones from RE Painter, and this is 18 mil for like $3. But again, if you thin it down just a little bit, like they tell you to do, thin your paints, then it goes up to almost 20 mil, 18, 20 mil, and you know, you don't have any issues with it. I mean, they put so much pigment. I will say the baseline, the base colors for Citadel have so much pigment in them that they are straight up opaque no matter what. I've not had any issues getting coverage with those before. So alright, so Pigman, what we got here? I think you're a little dry now, so let's see what this other color looks like. So this is that Sigor Crown. And again, if any of y'all work at Office Depot and decide to want me to have a chair that does not squeak, I will take it. Just kidding. My wife gives me a hard time about my chair. So let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to edge it in here ever so slightly. Right there we are. Alright, here we go. You know what though? I don't see it. It's almost like straight up paint. See after it dries. I wish my camera zoomed in a little bit better. This is the best the zoom can do. Ake, have you looked at my module yet? Has Chuck turned it over to you? Okay. That hair looks pretty cool. I like that. What do y'all think? So let's do his tail. C4 for Fantasy Grounds. I thought he said last week you're the one that does the final approval. No, for Fantasy Grounds. Care less about Roll20. Valuable input. Alright, let's see here. Got his crotch hair done. So how's he looking? What do y'all think? So far. He looking good? So let's now do his base. Here's the bad part about having so much paint. I have to turn around and keep getting it. my gosh. When you go looking for a color and you're in the wrong spot. It's just my life. Alright, come on. This is desert yellow. I'm going to put him on sand. I think it'll work pretty good. So we're going to go around the toes. It cleans that area up. Cool thing about this going on so thin, so when I use this to my benefit, is that it gives it different colors sticking out in a way. Kind of makes it look different instead of having one uniform color. So next week, what I'm going to do is, I know I've been showing different things so far, but next week I'm going to show one system at a time. I'm going to start with, I guess, the Army Painter system and walk everybody through that one using basic colors, and then show how it works, and then after that I'll move over to the, what I call a Reaper system, and then from there over to the Citadel system, just to show different ones, how to do it. Or you could just do like I do, mainly, and just combine them all and make messes. Right, so the base looks fairly okay. Alright. Go down the edge a little bit. We'll let that dry. See some spots. I'll have to touch up on that. Alright. Why are you not dry yet, Crocodile? Do some military shader. Maybe next time, if I'm doing this with a crocodile, I'm going to do a green yellow as my first layer. It's taking a little bit longer than what I wanted it to. And then this is just a wash on each one, which is a fine batch painting. Because if you have all of the same stuff and you're going over and over and over again, it's perfectly okay. Actually, I had a dropper. There it is. Get some of my dirty paint water. Dirty paint water. Slop it on there. Reminds me of what I always tell my kids. So my wife used to work at a Japanese restaurant. You know, this Japanese steakhouses. It's when we were in college. And we always joked around that soup they'd serve you before your meal I'd always call it dishwater stew. The kids don't like it because they actually like it. I like this. It's good. Okay, just drink your dishwater. Alright, there we go. Okay. Somebody's calling me again, and I'm not going to answer it because I am busy. People, if you know what I'm doing, if you check my Facebook, you'll know I'm having a paint show. Ah, there we go. That's starting to look better. Alright, key here now is as this starts to settle, we don't want it to pull up too much in certain areas again. So what we'll do is we'll get the brush, remove some of the tone, and just let it suck up in those certain spots that we don't want it to pull it too much. It's that wonderful capillary action. You see, we don't have enough right there, so I can still take. So what state/country is everybody from? I was told if I asked questions like that, people would like me more. That was a joke, guys. Ah! There. Alright. Let's go back to our pig. No, it's clogged. My handy dandy clog remover. This is a... Sorry, let my computer catch up a little bit here. So, all it is an airbrush needle shoved up into an old D20. Just pop it in. Got a lot of bent airbrush needles. This is Army Painter Strong Tone. So I want to mute right now that dry brush I did on him. So I'm going to come in here with this. Just paint it all over. This will help mute it and blend stuff in a little bit better. And it's actually the color that we're supposed to put on the Tuskers. Supposedly this is the magic. It's the magical liquid. Most sought after liquid in the world. Which is actually, I think, scorpion venom. Should tone it down a little bit. Hopefully. Put it on the Tuskers. And while we we got a little bit over here on here. Actually, I have to add a little bit more. Is we'll put a little bit on the base. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's toning it down enough. Mental note, Vallejo doesn't like to be washed. So has anybody ever tried to paint a miniature with oil paint before? I'll just leave that there. I think he is as good as he is going to get today. Let's go from there. So let's just set that aside. Let's work more on the crocodile. Alright, so crocodiles or alligators have toes. And on those toes, they have nails. And on those nails, they are a dark brown. So this guy's got some nails. Let's take care of those real quick while we're at it. While I'm waiting for the other stuff to dry. Well, I get sloppy with this. Didn't go to toenail painting school. So, okay, so I'm going to define something a little bit, and that is, what is a tabletop standard? When a painter says they paint something to a tabletop standard, some of us have different definitions of that, but on average, a tabletop standard is 3 to 4 colors with a wash and possibly a dry brush. So if I say I'm going to paint these tabletop standards, for me, usually it is 3 to 4 colors. And on average, that is what that is. Now, most commission painters will charge you based on how many colors they use and how many hours they think it's going to take. So if I'm only going to charge you, and I'm not trying to sell services or nothing like that, say I charge you $12 for a miniature, that miniature is essentially going to take me about 30 minutes total time. That doesn't include drying time, that doesn't include, but that it does include prep. I will say it does include prep. So that is one thing it does include. Alright, he's got a red mouth. Shut your mouth. Actually, crocodiles have pink mouths. To white. Hello, wipe my old friends. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, let's start on his snout. So we're going to outline the outer edge of his snout with white. And then we're going to come in and put some white on the inside of his mouth. It's okay that some of that wash gets in there. Then we're going to do the same thing down here. Right. Get it right here. Wish this was a little zoomed in. I don't know if my poor computer could handle a better camera. Alright, now I want to make some pink. So, here, up to here. And it's fine if it gets a little swished around a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry. When I do commission paint, I usually have an hair dryer. It's like, but that would be really loud on camera. Why you no done, Mr. Crocodile? So I'm going to reuse a color for something else. This ash gray. And I'm going to start by edging around his feet. Because I'm pretending that he is standing on a rock. It's okay that some of the wash gets into the gray because rocks aren't just one solid color. And rocks are actually more brown than gray. It's granite. Or amethyst. Amethyst is not gray. Sorry. Gotta rub it in a little bit. So this gives us something to do until some of this other stuff about him dries. So I'm waiting. You see I have a lot of miniatures on my table here. I'm really and truly just waiting for... If you're applying a color, is it possible to hold the figure closer to the... Yes. Sorry. Sometimes it gets uncomfortable for me, and that's why I do that. Because I have to hold it so close to the camera. But it's fine. But, so I batch clear coat all my stuff. So that's why a lot of it's just sitting on my desk. Before I take it down to the basement. I'll probably get about 10-15 miniatures painted and then just take it downstairs. No problem. Sorry, and I do get that. That's the thing, guys. I will get off camera, and if I do, you just call me out on it and I will straighten it up. Now, is there any miniature that you guys want me to paint? And I'll try to get it and paint it. Or if there's anything you all want to know, just ask. Been doing this for years. Okay. We got that gray on there. Down at the bottom of it. And it's kind of bright, but that's fine. So, this is something I painted a long time ago. And it was when I was experimenting with bases. So, this is an old Reaper miniature. It's metal. So, and I pulled this out of my pile. This is something I painted, I want to say, Lord, 16 years ago. So, she's standing on some sort of magical circle thing down here, and there she's got her spell book. But the way I did this was I took plaster and based it around. It's a Sobe, I guess a Sobe lid. That's how old it is that the saying has got off on it. I glued her to the lid, put the plaster around it, and then based it with sand. This was when I was using a lot of craft paints back in the day. So, back in my heyday. And my wife had gotten me this miniature when we were dating. She got me a bunch of them. So, she would sit there and watch TV while I painted miniatures. So, here, I'll try to get her a little bit closer. Hopefully she'll be in focus. Haven't usually really used her for anything, so I was just going through old miniatures and I saw that and stuff, so I figured I'd show it to you. I prefer metal miniatures to plastic, unless it's polystyrene, which is what Citadel miniatures are made out of. I'm a little bit unsure about resin miniatures at this point. I'm still trying to get my resin game on. So, alright, Mr. Crocodile. Let's see if we can add a little bit more green to you. Yeah. Well, guys, I am not really going to recommend this process. It's worked out in the past for orcs, namely stuff for 40k. Alright, so that's the big question. Do I prime them? Yes and no. So the Reaper Bones paint is formulated, or their HD paint also is formulated to go on the miniature without having to be primed. And so that essentially is what I did. Those first coats, that brown that you saw on the pig beforehand, was Reaper's golden brown, and this was saffron brown before I put that other layer of paint on it. So I base coat it in Reaper paint usually. I've not had a lot of luck with priming these guys because they always end up tacky afterwards. So I had to find a way to do it. Now I will tell you some other cool tricks about it, especially if you want your miniature to be white, or your undercoat to be white. Is use Army Painter. I will recommend wash the crap out of these miniatures. So just wash them. And but you could take Army Painter's matte clear coat and use that as primer on bones, and it works like a champ. I shoot it to the airbrush, and once I do that, it works well. I'm going to turn this upside down, see if I can get some of the pulling action coming up here to the top, because I'm getting a lot of yellow. So let's see what we got here. Getting a lot of yellow where I don't want yellow. Yep. I mean, bones are good. I will recommend, if you use bones, I use bones mainly for the monsters because they're cheap. I mean, gosh, they're so cheap. I have bought, like, I'll get the metal hero styles, stuff like that. Now here's a resin one I've been working on that's actually from Dorse Foundry, and I've been playing around with it. They're supposed to be sending me a couple more. And this is a Zenthal highlight. And I just put this to the side because I only work on this one when I'm bored. So, and I've got other stuff I have to get painted before I do this one. So this is a personal one for myself. But yeah, mainly I use Reaper for the bones for monsters, and if I can order it in metal, I will get it in metal. I tell you, another good company is Ironwind Metals. They, again, I think I talked about them last week. They have the old molds from Raul Partha. There's another guy, I can't remember his name. He's the guy that makes the Gary Con models. Now I will say the Bones Black, though. Oh my gosh, those are actually a little bit better. So this is a Bones Black miniature I was playing around with. My local game store gave it to me. Let's see if I can get this in better focus. It doesn't seem to be looking too well. Let me adjust my picture here. Let's see. Let's see. In the camera. Nope. Looks horrible. 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 Oh, well, better. Better. Like I'm at the eye doctor. Okay. I think that's it. Alright. Okay. So this is a Bones Black. It's a darker gray, a dark gray plastic when they come out. And so they're trying to give the Whiz Kids a run for their money. It's a harder plastic than Bones. It does have a better definition. Metal has better definitions than the vinyl. That is vinyl that they use for Bones. So metal has better definition than the vinyl for that. Here's another one I've been getting ready to start working on. This is actually a model of a friend of mine. So I have a friend who's got the world's largest dice collection, and so somebody made a dice collector mini of him. So I ordered that a while back, and I think it's kind of fun. I just hadn't got around to do it because I've got that pile of shame everybody has. So just nuts. Yeah, they are, and they're not that much more expensive. I hope they make a lot more out of them than what they currently have been doing. So I kind of hope they switch the whole Bones line over, because, and I'll tell you this, a lot of these models that they've got are actually their old, they've had them for a long time. They've been metal models. So they sculpt them in metal, and they sell them in metal for a while, and then they shoot them down to China to have plastic molds made of them. And that's it. They're plastic mold. I mean, they get them made in China. So, and I wouldn't say it's bad for something to be made in China, but right now it's more of those things of what we're dealing with our sicknesses and this whole COVID crap. But there's certain things that certain companies can and can't do here, and I just don't think they have the setup for it. They do have the setup for metal, and they have the setup to make their own paints, which is cool. So I'm going to apply a little bit of that bone, the skeleton bone to the teeth area here of our crocodile. Hopefully he'll dry and look a lot better. The pig man's looking pretty good though. I will have to say, he is looking a little better. Anybody out there own an airbrush or want to start using an airbrush or anything like that. Not everybody at once. A little bit more red to that tongue. Alright, so that's what we got so far. So I think I'm going to give it one more coat of green. And then I'm going to give it a little brown. So, I like airbrushes, but I don't spend a lot on them. This is my current airbrush. It's a Master Series. Hopefully I didn't lose our connection. Okay. So this is a Master Series, I think G23 or G22 Pro. It's $30. I mean, all I'm using this for is a base coat or a primer and clear coat. That's it. The key is keeping it clean. Your air compressor, I have an air compressor with a tank. It's very important because you want continuous flow on these things. This is dual action, so it means you push down for air and pull back for paint. So down for air, back for paint, and it's kind of squishy. That's the only bad part about being a cheap brush. What I do is, as soon as I'm done with it, I run it to the sink, rinse it out, fill this with water, and I sit there and spray every bit of that water out, and then I'll take the front end of it off and clean it out. Reason why I have not upgraded is because I'm clumsy, and I've dropped airbrushes, and they land on the tips. So, that's my problem. I do want to get a Badger Patriot one day. It's a good next level up for me. I don't think I'm going to go any better than that. But, yeah, I mean, one of the things I do, I take this off usually. And I've got this back, and I just loosen it up like this. I'll pull it in and out, and it gets the paint moving. I'll push it all the way in and just back it out like 2 millimeters, and then tighten this up. And that pretty much, if I just push down, paint will come out. And a lot more paint will come out because usually I'm using this with primer, and it's a little thicker. So, I will tell you, you can shoot strong tone and all that stuff through an airbrush, and it goes on pretty good and even. I pretty much stay around the 4 most of the time. 3 sometimes, but I put a 2 on there once and it clogged up just like that. It's no good. So, sorry, I'm just waiting for this to dry a little bit. And eating some of this muffin. Let's see what the pigman's looking like. Alright, so this is what we painted earlier today. So what I would have done different on this, I would have skipped the whole muscles, how I did it with trying to transition the muscles up to see if it made any effect with the contrast. The contrast is so thick and so pigmented, you couldn't really tell. So I would have just went with a lighter brown when I primered him, and then I would hit him with contrast, then come back in and hit him with the dry brushing. Sorry. But I think he's done, personally. I don't think I'd change anything about him. I think he'd be okay. I'd use him in a game. Heck, knowing Watsy, he'd probably end up being a playable race one day. I'd play him. That was a joke. Last bite. Actually, I got some crumbs. I'm making you guys hungry, I know it. Alright. see my pig. Oh, yeah. So last week we were talking about mixing balls. I ended up having to go get some new mixing balls. So these are Army Painter mixing balls. They're just as cheap as ordering the generics on eBay. Just probably about 50 cents more. And I went to my local store and bought them. Thing with these, I will tell you, two balls, a bottle. The only thing I don't like about them is that they're so small. They go into the tip sometimes. If you shake them, they shoot down in there. So when you can't really pour your paint out like this straight down, you have to do it from the side so the balls don't go into the nipple. But other than that, they work great. All right, Mr. Crocodile. See, that one spot here on the crocodile is not like it's not taking any colors. So I'm going to do this upside down. I've got some leakage out of his face. Let's just do this. It's going to look horrible. Horrible, I say. We're going to do this upside down. We want the tone to run to the top. Okay. We want it a little bit darker on the top. Now I'm going to start around here on the edge of the mouth though, because that's a little brighter than what I want it to be. Okay. I'm not going to put much more green on this because we need to let it dry some and put a little bit more brown on it. But, I mean, he's turning out, but man, we had to do a lot to get him here. So what I would have done differently here, I do like this process when I'm doing stuff like it works. You know, because it works can be different levels of green. So I would, on this, if I wanted to use this process again, I would have not used yellow. I would have used a green to start out with, but a yellow green. Or I would have went green, a green color, and then dry brushed yellow on him. Then turn back around and washed it green. I think that would probably have been the best option for him. So we'll hold him upside down for a while. But there he is. Roar! We'll get you. See, it's just bothering me. Right there. That one spot. It's like it doesn't want to take the shade at all. It's like right here. I can't get it to take shade. That's another thing. I guess it's got to do with the paint. So let's turn it like this. Put that on the very bottom. Hopefully that'll pull up a little bit. I feel like I'm just keep putting it on and keep putting it on. It's just not going to take. So this is a mixture of green tone and military shader from Army Painter. Military shader is brown with a little bit of green. Kind of like strong tone, but like a different green. But I wanted to add a little bit more green to it because I do need them a little brown. They got a little brown in them. So, and I'm going to put strong tone when I can get this to pull a little bit. I'm going to put it on the stone. And then I would call this guy done. So, it's done. As soon as I get this done. But yeah. Yeah, my arm's in the way. Sorry, guys. No problem. Roar. Anyway, I'm a dork. Again, I have these, so I'm not too dorky Right, bake. Oh, you should have seen Chuck when I showed him pictures of it. Oh, he hasn't got a whole room of dice. He's got a bucket. Come on. Alright, let's see. It's not going to change it at all. Don't know what it is. Alright, so a little bit strong tone. Next, it's going to go on the rock where he's standing to give it some texture and to fill in the lines between his feet. So, now, something else I would have done if I had pre-mixed it is I would have took a gray, darker gray paint for this and actually made a wash out of it, because you can do that and just give it a little bit more darker. This adds definition, but it makes it look dirty, which is good because he's standing on a dirty stone that's out in the swamp, and he's attacking some poor innocent children waiting for heroes to come in. So see how I've added that tone to that. So it'll mute down the gray some once it dries, and it'll fill in the recesses and make it look dirty. So now when I'm doing a lot of terrain, especially stuff with rocks, I try to stay away from gray. I use browns and tans, stuff like that, because grays, certain types of rocks are gray. Not everybody can get to it, get that, like back in the day, could get all that types of rock and stuff. So what do I want to show you guys? Outside of my mess on my desk, here's a cool tool. If y'all use any XPS foam, this is a hot wire. So what I use this for, of course, there's batteries in here. Cutting and shaping XPS foam for bases. It'll cut other things as well. Example, there's a nasty plastic bag. So I needed to seal something up the other day, and I just grabbed this thing and I was like, here we go. I hold down this thing right here and just hold it down for a second and just start pulling it through. It just cuts right through it. And if it was XPS foam, it you just shave stuff off of it. So I used to use a lot of terrain for D&D, and then role playing, Castles Crusades, all that stuff. I've recently just given up on D&D completely, but it's this word we say when we're talking about role playing as Dungeons and Dragons, which kind of gets me upset. Is that I use what's called the infinity terrain, and what that is a piece of 24-inch XPS foam cut in a circle, jagged edges. Then you grid out 1 inch grid on top of it. Color it cavern colors, color it brown colors, whatever you want to, and then you put it on the middle of a Lazy Susan device, and it's spinning around. So instead of using walls, you actually just use pieces. Like you might have a fireplace or things to shape out the room, and in that you can use that for combat instead of having to lay out an entire dungeon and walk people through it, and it saves room so you can have a smaller table to play, and you don't have to have as much terrain. that's mainly what I use at the moment. Um, I have been printing off a lot more Dungeon Terrain lately because I play a lot with the scouts and stuff, and they like, or kids at churches and things, and they like to see lots of different things because they're used to video games and stuff. So, but yeah, I think that's it for tonight, guys. My voice is about shot again. So, if y'all think of any questions, y'all can shoot me an email or anything like that. My email is Daniel.L.Fisher at gmail.com. So if y'all have any questions and stuff, if you come up with anything, you can send it to me and I'll answer it next week. Or if it's important, I can get to it for you. But yeah, it was fun, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.